Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you 4 fruits that your parents or grandparents should never touch. Never ever ever. Why? Because they can be dangerous for their health. Now, if you watch my videos, you know I love fruit. And if you haven't watched my videos before, well, I love fruit. In fact, in my opinion, they are the most delicious food that we have available to us today. Nothing compares to fresh, ripe, juicy fruit. It's so good. But there are some fruits out there that are just not good for our health, especially as we get older. And that's what we're going to cover today. So for fruits that we should really avoid as we get older. And I've chosen these because they either cause major health problems, or they have a high risk of causing major health problems. Now everything in life has a risk. So if you eat one of these fruits, it doesn't mean that you're definitely gonna get a problem. It just means that it has been associated with certain diseases and conditions. And we want to avoid those things as much as possible. So we want to keep the risk as low as possible. That's why I'm making this video today. If you're new here, welcome. I'm a doctor. I'm an emergency room doctor who treats everything from COVID to gunshot wounds, burns, you name it. I've probably treated it in the emergency room. And now I'm bringing all that experience to you in this video. So if you like this kind of stuff, please subscribe down below. And if you see any comments while you're watching this video, leave your comment down below. I love talking with you guys. So let's dive right into this list. No. 1 is Loquats. I don't know if you've ever seen Loquats before. They look like little golden colored grapes. Maybe you've even tried them, but they're not very popular. So I wanted to start this list off with something that maybe your parents or grandparents have never even heard of. Loquats are very astringent. What does that mean? Well, astringent means that when you consume them, they cause your body to constrict. Now, the reason that's a problem is because if your body is constantly in a state of constriction, that puts more pressure on your heart. And over time, the extra pressure can lead to things like hypertension or high blood pressure. We also know that chronically high blood pressure can cause damage to your organs, particularly your eyes, your brain and your heart. So you can see how this one fruit can have negative consequences over a long period of time. No. 2 on the list, we have apricots. Now I love the smell of apricots. I love how they look. They're very pretty, golden color, looks like the sun, but they're actually very dangerous for our health, particularly for seniors. And that's because apricots contain something called cyanide. Cyanide is a poison, and it's found naturally in the pits of the apricot, but also in apples, in peaches, nectarines, plums and cherries. Now most of the time, the amount of cyanide in fruit isn't enough to harm us. But if you have a lot of apricots, then you can start getting sick. You can get headaches, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, and even seizures and death. Now, I'm not saying that eating a few apricots is gonna make anybody sick. But if you have a lot of apricots, and I mean a lot, a pound or 2 of dried apricots could cause cyanide poisoning. But even eating small amounts of apricots can put extra strain on your liver. And that's not something that we want to do, especially as we get older. Our liver is already working overtime as it is. And the last thing that we need to do is add additional strain on our liver. Now, if you're wondering why apricots have cyanide in them, and I don't blame you, because it's kind of weird, well, the cyanide protects the apricot pit. The cyanide acts as an insecticide, so bugs won't eat the pits. And over time, the cyanide builds up in the pit. And then when you eat the pit, the cyanide is released into your stomach. Now, if you take the pit out, then you're fine. You can eat the flesh of the apricot without any problems. But I would recommend avoiding apricots altogether, because the pits are so hard. It's very easy for a senior to accidentally bite down on the pit while they're chewing. And that's when the cyanide is released, and that's when you can get very, very sick. Okay, number 3 on the list. This one might surprise you. It's wild blueberries. Now I love blueberries. I think they're great. But if you're a senior, you want to stay away from wild blueberries. And here's why. Wild blueberries have leaves on them. And believe it or not, blueberry leaves can cause serious complications, particularly if you have kidney problems. If you have kidney problems and you eat wild blueberries, the leaves can cause your kidneys to shut down. Now, I am not saying that eating a handful of wild blueberries is gonna make anybody's kidneys shut down, But if you're a senior and you have kidney problems, then you definitely want to avoid this fruit entirely. The last fruit on our list today is persimmons. Now, persimmons look like large orange carrots, but they're actually fruit. And if you eat unripe persimmons, they can cause severe abdominal pain, cramping and diarrhea. So this is a fruit that you definitely want to stay away from if you're a senior. And here's why. As we get older, we get weaker. Our muscles get weaker, our stomachs get weaker, our bowels get weaker. Everything gets weaker as we get older. And if we eat something that irritates our stomach or our bowels, it can cause major problems, especially if we get dehydrated. If you get diarrhea and you're not rehydrating properly, that can cause you to end up in the hospital with something called hypernatremia. Hypernatremia is when you too dehydrated and you basically getting all the water sucked out of you. And that's something that we want to avoid at all costs. It's very dangerous. It causes confusion, delirium and even seizures. Now, I'm not saying that eating an unripe persimmon will necessarily cause you to get seizures. But if you're a senior and you eat an unripe persimmon, then you can get diarrhea and dehydration. And if you don't rehydrate properly, that can lead to all sorts of bad things. Now, it's important to note that eating ripe persimmons is not dangerous. In fact, persimmons are really good for your health. They help with digestion and they're full of nutrients. But eating unripe persimmons is a big no-no. So make sure that you only eat ripe persimmons. Alright, now I've got a question for you. Have you ever eaten any of these fruits? If so, did you have a good or bad experience with them? Please let me know down in the comments below. Alright, now if you're a parent or grandparent, you gonna want to watch this video right here because it's got 7 superfoods that you should be giving your kids or grandkids. Those are really good for their health. So check that out right here. Also, please make sure that you subscribe down below and turn your notifications on. When you do that and you hit that like button, you let the platform know that you'd like to see more videos like this one. Thank you so much for watching. Stay healthy, my friends.